Grand Finals of ESL Open Cup number 23 is in the top left-hand side. We've got the blue Terran player, Heromarine. In the bottom right, our red Zerg from Clash. It is Reynor taking down Clem to get to the Grand Finals, and really looked good while doing so. Really makes this an exciting series, because apparently Heromarine looked great and really just swept through Lambo in the semi-final on his side of the bracket to get us here to this Grand Final. Of course, nowadays these ESL Open Cups happen every Monday. $200 for first place, $100 for second, third, and fourth. Walk away with $50 each, and 10 ESL points for first place and 5 ESL points for second place. So the ESL points is what a lot of these guys look at. Obviously, the cash is a nice little bonus as well. Nice to see Reynor playing in one of these, because it has been a little while since we've seen Reynor play one of these events. He has taken some time off of these. After playing 4 or 5 in a row, he really took a step back and said, cool, I'll see you guys next time. I'll see you guys later. And then actually never came back. He walked away. He went out for a packet of cigarettes. He never returned. But then he actually did come back. He just went to a very far off shop. And now he's back and playing in at least this one. I'd love to see him every week. Because he really adds just so much depth to the lineup as well, right? I feel like we gained Reynor this week, but then we lost Showtime because Showtime didn't sign up. And Showtime has been giving us some great deep bracket runs as well. I want one of these events where we just have everyone. And I'm talking like, for example, like today, Uthermal didn't sign up either. And some of the other top guys, like top 10-ish guys that are usually in the seedings. I want a cup where we get like Heromarine, Reynor, Showtime, Clem, literally just everybody in here. I think that'd be really sick. I'm sure it will happen at some stage as well. Obviously, there's some weeks are better than others for certain tournaments coming up. This week is ESL qualifiers, or ESL Pro Tour for DreamHack Summer Masters qualifiers coming up. So there's a few players who kind of take the week off. Obviously, some players don't have to play in those qualifiers. They're already invited. Players such as Heromarine, who is in the higher stages, and Reynor, who are in the higher stages of the ESL points. They get an invite already, so for them, there's not much to prepare for this week. As the Reaper shows up and doesn't do much to start, of course. I do actually find it very interesting to be able to go from the Reynor Clem match into the Reynor Heromarine match, because we go from a series which is basically saying, oh, hey, like, you know, this is Reynor versus Clem. How does he then change his playstyle versus Heromarine? Does he change it at all? Does he need to? How does he deal with the way Heromarine plays this game? It's, does Heromarine play that differently from Clem that Reynor needs to change even? As that's a great snipe at the start. Grabs a creep tumor as it tries to go down. And that's 25 energy down the drain for Reynor in the early stages. So unfortunately for Reynor, boom, 25 energy gone. 2 base lair from him. And obviously we see a lot of the Mutalisks coming up with that lately. And that would be... I'd be surprised if there was anything different to the plan here. Ooh, a medevac. We're going to see an armory and some Hellbats then, perhaps. There is our armory dropping down from Heromarine in the back. So yeah, Hellbats are really back on the menu with all of these 2-based lair plays and all of these faster lairs, etc. We have seen so many Hellbat attacks. Innovation really, deep dove into them the last couple of weeks in his TvZs. And I think a lot of the other Terrans are like, yeah, actually, I can see why these are good again, right? You're teching up very quickly into a Spire. It forces you to make Banelings, which is then less gas you can spend on Mutalisks. And those are all things which obviously work out very, well for the Terran when playing against this kind of an opener. So I think Heromarine will be fairly happy with the fact that this is indeed a lair already done and the Spire now building. Now, there is a Baneling nest, so Reynor can get some defense up here, but he's got barely any gas to morph the Banes right away. So actually, he will not have Banes at the start. I mean, 3 at most. And 3 Banes doesn't do enough to begin with, as we'll see these Hellbats are going to move through for some Queens. The Baneling at the front there cancels, so it's still only 3 on the way at the moment. Reynor actually losing out on an Overlord. Supply blocks him. The Banes finish. Nice pull forward from Heromarine. Nice split. Minimizes the most of the damage there. And he's going to pull back to a couple of extra Hellions that show up. He'll grab those into his hotkey and move them around. Going to morph them into Hellbats too. And again, as long as these units stick around, I think Heromarines' idea is just like, okay, well, I can force a fight where you're still morphing Banelings. Again, every Baneling is 25 gas. That's not going to be, a quarter less of a Mutalisk I have to fight at some stage. And he is trading out pretty well because, you know, Hellbats are pretty efficient if Banelings are crashing into them. This will be a cleanup from Reynor, but it takes a little time. And throughout this entire time, he's just been, you know, building units. He's not been building any drones. And this actually explains the pull back to the third base a little bit more from Heromarine as well. He had this Liberator heading to the main, so by pulling back to the third, the Queens were more out of position, even more damage done. You come out of this killing a Queen, 2 Queens even, 5 Banes, 4 drones. If you look at that, resources lost, dead even, but in a scenario where Reynor has not been mining as much as Heromarine. So Heromarine, I think, looking good based on how the opener went. And now he's actually gone into mech. Wow, he starts up a +1 vehicle upgrade. So he's actually going to play mech behind this Hellbat opener. Wasn't actually expecting that, as we do have a couple of Vikings and a Thor to start us off. And there's our extra factories. Okay, well, mech it will be. Now, of course, we've seen a lot of Zergs playing against mech with Mutalisks lately. The idea has been to use these Mutalisks. They get out on the map, they really hold map control, and they really, and I mean really, they hold map control, right? Like, they own the map, and they give you the chance to expand, and then later you transition away from this kind of mobile mutiling Bane force. So this has been one of the ways that we've seen, you know, Zergs approaching this lately. These are a lot of anti-air units initially, but again, this should be the phase where Reynor says, right, let's get these expansions up, let's drone up, let's just get my economy really rocking and rolling here for this first map of the series. Now, there is, again, a lot of Vikings, and that's a concern. I'm a little worried maybe just because of how Reynor's work account is looking, supply blocked multiple times here. If Heromarine feels brave enough to move across the map with like Hellion, Thor, Viking, is Reynor maybe in some trouble? I don't think so, because I think the Banes would show up, and I think the Banes would save the day in the end, but it does feel a little scary right now that his army is just not really what it needs to be to really fight against this. Aliens and a Thor coming in, just going to see Mutalisks will continue to back away down the left-hand side. Reynor will commit through to the 1-1 melee, so he did see the setup, right? He hasn't necessarily seen the extra factories, but I think he's got a pretty good idea that this could be mech. He saw a 5th gas already going down very quickly. So I think he's got a pretty good idea. You see more Hellions as well, right? A lot of things would just say mech to you. So I think Reynor has a good idea. And again, it's not really a crazy thing to go melee upgrades and Ling Bane Muter anymore. You know, eventually you can transition into Corruptors if you really feel like you need like air units against, like, if it was BCs or Liberators. You know, a lot of the time you see Roaches added in. You kind of play Ling Bane Roach for a while, and then you transition through into Ultras. And those Ultras can actually, you know, headbutt into and trade out against mech armies pretty well as well. The whole idea, again, is just that you are able to take so many bases early, you just get an economy to trade badly, right? To trade inefficiently. But you're just able to rebuild and go again so quick, and you're super mobile. You can outposition the mech player, and you can get so much done with all of that. As you do see the Mutas come in, missile turret picked off. 1-1 melee upgrades coming through. Now, Baneling speed finishes on the Bane Nest with a couple of extra Mutalisks coming over to the left-hand side. A lot of creep pushing across through the center of the map at the moment. So a lot of creep into the middle, and again, controlling the map is becoming a thing now. One scary thing is if you control this map, Death Aura, there's actually a realistic shot of getting a lot of gas income. Because these are rich Vespene gas bases, and they have double rich Vespene geysers, which is just crazy if you can get to them. And I don't think Reynor is necessarily there just yet, but he takes this base. This base up here isn't that far off. Yes, it's very easily pushed. But right now he's got Heromarine pinned back, so you don't necessarily worry about that just yet. Banes crash in, 9 SCVs, 10 SCVs will go down. So some good damage dealt as the little Bane run by gets through and deals some damage. And Reynor going to come through and sees there's no anti-air here, so he's just going to come straight in, picks off the missile turret. If I say no anti-air, I mean like the Vikings and the Thors aren't over there, right? So gets the missile turret and again just picks off a siege tank and taking this very slow and steady. Not throwing away tons of units, making sure he's retaining as much as possible, trading as well as possible. Because again, the main goal is to just keep on expanding. 84 drones are in the game at the moment, and his economy is starting to get to that booming point as an infestation pit comes up. So, you know, his future in this game looks bright with the ability to tech up and go a bit differently into different things. Now some Cyclones on the way from Heromarine, who wants to start playing a more kind of Cyclone mobile, you know, mobility focused army. So try and change this up a little bit. These Mutas, maybe that dive wasn't quite so pretty. Loses the Overseer, needs to replace that just in case of Widow Mines. You want to make sure you can see if you're running into any Widow Mines. Does Reynor have the economy just to roll in and kill off this base? I feel like that's a tough question, because it's obviously great if you can deny this, and especially in a world right now where Heromarine has not had a chance to like build a bunch of extra command centers, right? So realistically, blowing up this base, it's expensive for Reynor. He gets 13 SCVs. Heromarine not really mining off a fourth base now. And he actually got quite a few Cyclones and so on. And he again opens up the chance to go to the left-hand side with these Mutalists, gets a siege tank, gets a couple missile turrets, and he just gets out of there. Again, never been too greedy with the Mutas, and he's already remaxing on the Lings while teching into Hive. I'm all about Reynor this game, and I really think it's because it's very easy to, to talk just about Reynor, because he's the one that's moving all over the map with these Mutas. And he's the one that's making everything happen, right? Since Heromarine had that Hellbat attack, Heromarine been a very passive object in this game, right? Like, what has he done? He's just sat there. Big Gabe has sat there, and he's been a statue, he's been a monument, but, he's not mobile, he's not gotten onto the map again. And so that's why I'm just Reynor this and Reynor that, and Heromarine is, it's not like Heromarine, I would even say, has done a great job of splitting up the Thors or keeping track of the Mutas. I would actually love to see maybe even a sensor tower here, just to give you a bit more of an idea of where those Mutas are maybe coming in from next, because that maybe would have alleviated some of the problems he's really had at dealing with this, as the Mutas, well, they get rid of 2 Thors, and that's obviously a lot of the anti-air already gone. A couple of the Vikings are very low, and a couple Cyclones to help out too. I do feel like Heromarine is getting to a dangerous point here now, where he's maybe not quite got enough anti-air, and he does realize it to himself. Adds on 3 more Thors. Of course, he just lost a couple, so it makes sense to add some on anyway, but I think a couple extra Thors do not go amiss here at all. He's just going to roll Banes in. Dead Orbital. Obviously, the Orbital can lift up, but he just didn't see it in time, so he loses out on it. This time, the follow-up Banelings don't do as much. Maybe a Siege Tank or 2. SCV count killed isn't as high, but again, Reynor's in a position where, when you look at his income, that's when he kills the 4th base. Here, then it recovers a little bit. Heromarine getting back. Boom, kill the 3rd base. Income leads from Reynor have been pretty serious here now, and Heromarine starts to move across the map because I think he just realizes that he needs to be a bit all in. Lings are just going to confirm that this is completely all in and not a, oh, I can just do a bit of damage and back away. What do you do as Heromarine? Do you pull back to deal with this? I don't think you can. Well, he has a Blue Flame Hellbat here, and that might actually just be the best answer of everything, and it probably will be. Of course, in a straight-up fight, Reynor's army isn't great, and the one thing I will say is that Reynor doesn't have a bank at the moment. He doesn't have a bank to rebuild an army if he uses one up killing this army off. So if you kill this entire army and you go again, let's see. He rolls straight, and he needs to clean up very effectively because his rebuild potential is very low. And I think he's okay because he's going to clean up, and then the extra Thor's showing up now. Reynor has money in the bank again. 90 drones will do that to you, right? You just get that money back so quickly. The Mutas are going to dart around, look to pick off any further reinforcements that aren't these Thors. And they're going to get a few of these Hellions. That's less Blue Flame to worry about on your Lings, which are going to be coming in, trying to get the wrap around to kill the Thors as well. Extra Bane's already morphed in. They're just going to crash through, trying to get some of the Hellbats, of course. Again, you clean up these Hellbats, and Lings are really then just going to be the be-all and end-all. You lose this base on the right side, but the Mutas are split up. Everything is going down. That's GG. Again, that Reynor really dominated after the Hellbat attack. He took control, and he never let it go. Reynor goes up 1-0. Down a map, as his mech didn't work out in the top right-hand side of Everdream, our Blue Terran. Let's hear it if you're cheering on Heromarine. Bottom left, our red Zerg. He took over Death Aura. It was just his all over. Creep spread, Mutas, Lings, Banes. It was all his. It's Reynor from Clash in the bottom left. At this point, I think Reynor was about ready to call it Heromarine Aura, because Heromarine was basically just dead the entire game. Am I right, guys? It was brutal. Heromarine decided to play mech, and it just... Honestly, I kind of like how Reynor did it, because he never got overcommitted with the Mutas early. So his initial Muta count just kept building up, and I struggle to find a point there to see where Heromarine could have maybe moved out and done something. I think if I struggle to see it as the observer, Like, you can imagine why it's a struggle for Heromarine to be like, oh yeah, I see how I can move out and do something. Like, it's tough, right? It's tough. I like this quote from the chat. The other day on Heromarine stream, he said he only goes mech to remind himself how bad mech is. Well, now he knows. Now he doesn't. Now he'll remember not to do it for the rest of the series. Unfortunately, I feel like he probably wished that he didn't do that in the first game of the finals, and maybe did it a bit earlier on in the tournament before he got this far in. Because giving yourself a game again, you know, giving Reynor a game against you is never fun, because Reynor is so freaking good. He will take those advantages and he will run with them. As you see, the CC starting up. Reaper is about to finish from Heromarine, and it's going to move out onto the map. A couple of queens building from Reynor, main in the natural expansion. As we'll see, our factory just continuing to build up. A couple of these queens coming in, and again, a lot of building. Reaper's showing up. Early game as it should be. No early pool or anything from Reynor either. I wonder if Reynor mixes in some aggression in this series as well. You know, did it against Clam. Did it on this map against Clam. I wonder if there's something at some point coming down for that. He takes the low ground third base. So Heromarine comes across. If Heromarine doesn't realize that he takes this base, that's actually pretty huge, because Heromarine may alter his build to play a certain style based on the fact he thinks that Reynor's opening 2 bases. So if he doesn't realize this base is here, that could be bad for him. And okay, he checks it now. And now he's going to see, oh my goodness, it's very early third base even. And now he'll be a little bit like, you know, that's not quite how we expected this to go. Factory going to be finishing up soon, and that's factory number 2, of course, at this stage of the game. So going to be seeing our second factory coming in, and here we're going to go for some blue flame hellbats to open. Now, we've seen this build a lot, and actually we just talked about how Heromarine, if he plays mech in that first game, maybe he doesn't play mech in game 2, but there is obviously actually a bio transition you can make out of this. You can actually get Stimpack off the back of this blue flame hellbat build. As Reynor comes in, he'll see a tech lab on the Rax Viking building. His overlord didn't go the way he needed to see this second factory and to really figure out what is going on in these early stages of the game. Alright, well, 2 Hellions and a Reaper, and now 2 more Hellions from Heromarine. All coming to the bottom side of the map. Coming in, Queen's taking some damage. A couple of creep tumors already going down from Reynor. Armory builds from Heromarine in the natural expansion, so gets that up and ready to go. Just going to see the Reaper, Hellions, all of this from Heromarine out in the middle of the map. We kind of want to go up to the high ground there as the creep spread. He's going to push out into the middle. We're just going to be seeing our Viking is coming through. He's going to kill this Overlord off in the next couple of moments. So Viking will get the Overlord, as we do see the Armory of Heromarine in the back of the natural. There are the 4 Hellions loading up. So he's going to go Hellions and Hellbats into the main with the Hellions and Hellbats attacking at the front. Reynor's Bane Nest on the way, but not ready yet. And there is once again a fairly quick Spire from him. It does feel a little scary, right? 20 lings on the map with blue flame on these Hellbats. Gonna be really scary as the queens. This is kind of bad as well. These first queens are actually kind of off on their own. Hellions just run in as Hellions into the main base, and now they morph into Hellbats here, and the Medivac will heal them, so the lings will not do very well. I feel like Reynor is just dead already. 17 drones going down. This is going to be a quick GG even, I think. I don't think he'll stick around too long in this, losing this many drones this quickly. He's got Hellbats everywhere still. He's going to find the Banes morphing Heromarine, and if he just gets rid of these Bane lanes, or even if he just soaks them up like somewhat effectively, then yeah, I even think the longest Reynor stays in this, the more surprised I am, because I think Reynor is the sort of player who gets frustrated at times, and I feel like this is the sort of the game he looks at. He's like, you know, a lot of the time Reynor will try and fight his way back into it, but this is just super damage taken super early in the game. fighting back into this doesn't really happen very easily at all, right? So 44 drones lost, 45. Maybe he just cleans out the units and tries to go from there. GG. Heromarine takes game number 2 at the 2 double factory blue flame. Welcome back as we go into Eternal Empire for map number 3. Get this one started off in the top right side with the blue Terran. Blue flaming it up in game number 2 to take the win. It's Heromarine. Up against the red Zerg in the bottom left-hand side from Clash, it's Reynor. And I don't think he was all too happy with having his drones taken to the barbecue on Everdream. Funka gonna die in the early moments of game number 3 here. We did just join in after about 40 seconds or so, but I do appreciate you guys sitting through the quick ad break. Really does go a long way to support and helps us continue to run tournaments, all of that good stuff. So thank you very, very much, guys. As stated, I really do appreciate it. StarCraft crashed. Yay. We crashed the StarCraft. Okay, we're back. So, game number 3. Apparently, is StarCraft uncrashed. As the Reaper will be on the way up here from Heromarine, about halfway done. And of course, the early few moments are very self-explanatory. The real thing we really watch for is this recipe and gas. Is he going to refinery it? Is he going to go 3cc off 1 gas? Kind of depends what sort of game you want to play. It sort of says, you know, are you comfortable playing a macro game against Reynor where you don't do anything apart from build SCVs, right? As the Reaper will continue to the lower left side. A couple of queens building from Reynor on the factory from Heromarine in the main. Reynor's just straight out to that 3rd hatch, so no delays on hatcheries here in the early stages. Just really able to get that 3rd hatch down nice and quickly each time. This time it is 3cc from Heromarine, so he will just go a little bit more eco-focused in the early stages. Just going to go straight up toward that as we do have our Reaper. A little bit of back and forth there, deciding where to go. Overlord speed is about halfway along from Reynor as well. So again, that overlord speed up. As Ling speed is going to be on the way out in the main. Of course, Eternal Empire definitely gives you this setup where you've got some pretty good options in terms of which sort of directions you take this. You know, you can go... We kind of talked about it in the Clem series as well, but, you know, if you get up to 3 bases, you can take your 4th base here and pressure the 4th base of the Zerg if they go there. Obviously, if you just want to play kind of a slower game, you can go up here, and there is just, you know, a good back and forth that can happen on Eternal Empire. Definitely one of the more, you know, one of the funner maps to play in these longer TvZs on. And those 2 Hellions will be finishing from Heromarine in a moment, and of course it's a Viking from the starport as well. So just going to look to clean up some Overlords. With the Overlord speed, though, Reynor gets in and he sees a bit of everything. After losing that game number 2, I think he says, you know what, I'm just going to pay to see everything that happens in this. I don't want to be caught off guard. And in this case, he's going to be basically paying to see that, oh, you're just going for mass economy and there's nothing that's actually going to come and try and kill me. Well, that's something, as you do see. The Hellions to the front. Queen's able to pick off 1 Hellion already, and a fusion core from Heromarine as a follow-up. So 3cc fusion core. The BC definitely like a bit of an attempt to be a tricky player, right? Because you don't expect it as Reynor at this stage. It's a very late BC because this isn't even Viking into BC right away. It's like Viking into wait for it, build a tech lab, wait for it some more, and now build the BC. So the BC is really late here, and it can absolutely catch Reynor off if he has no intentions of going for more scouting, which he does. This Overlord up this right-hand side, this is great. He's lost 2 Overlords, and yet he's so happy to build a 3rd and to send that in. So I think this is really nice, because a lot of Zergs right now are like, well, okay, 3cc, You know, I've seen everything. The usual timings aren't there. And he flies this Overlord in, and he's going to get the scout that he needs, right? Tech Lab on the starport suddenly. Okay. And then he goes deep, and he's going to find the fusion core. So, yeah, Reynor is going to see everything. No, Reynor, he turned too soon. He turned too soon. He's wanting to hang around in a way because maybe he wants to see... The longer nothing comes out of the starport, the more it feels like a BC because it's got a long build time, right? But he didn't quite get to the fusion core, man. Here's me being all smoking cocky, being like, here we go, Reynor's gonna see it. And he turns away a second before he does. Now, I think he kind of knows anyway. He's building spores. He's getting a couple extra queens. I think he already sees enough to pick up on the information. Of course, it could be that, you know, it could be like there's a fusion core on the map. And that's what he thinks, right? He actually thinks there's a fusion core somewhere. That's why he's scouting with these lings. He doesn't believe he's missed it in the main. Well, I actually don't think he thinks there's a fusion core yet because he's not going to go into Aspire. Heromarine going to play mech again. So it's going to be mech, but a very different kind of mech because even just having the BC as part of the opening, that's just such a different setup. You know, having the BCs as part of your game give you a lot more map control than what you had in the earlier game. So that's going to be huge. Yeah, there's a lot of positives to this as Heromarine comes down to the bottom side of the map here. A couple of creep teamers spreading out, and you do see these few queens of Reynor showing up and getting into position as well. The Hellions are going to move out the top, or through the top side. A couple of extra factories coming in from Heromarine. Our weapon refit is already on the way, so that Yamato cannon setting up. And our Overseer flying through as queens are pretty quick to jump in and to turn this battle cruiser around. So he's going to take a bit of damage here. Heromarine. Aspire is indeed on the way now. Going straight at 2-2 melee upgrades. Let's see what Reynor can do this time around with the Mutalisks and the Lings and the Banes. Try and take control of the map, but it's already a much better paced game from Heromarine, right? Already coming out with these Hellions, already cleaning up some drones. Just getting more damage done, being on the map, being active. The BC obviously helps a lot with that. These Hellions are then actually having a good time. It's a nice surround from the Lings to help clean up. He's going to try and morph in Hellbats. Yeah, I was going to say, back the Lings off and just let the Banes finish them off before you lose too much. There's 11 drones killed, and obviously a fairly, not a cheap cleanup of the Hellions, and BC's still around as well. That will teleport home soon as he just trades for as many transfusions as he can get, and then he's like, okay, cool, I'm out of here, nothing more to be gained. Reynor will take the watchtower across the map as Heromarine builds a fourth base, but there's no real counterattack potential on 3 bases of, you know, Eternal Empire. Full wall-offs are set up, there's no openings. As far as Reynor's concerned, this is very much so a case of just kind of waiting a little while as next BC shows up. Now at least Mutas are on the way, so they can chase that down. And once the Mutas are out, that's when you're maybe going to be able to start taking some map control and pushing Heromarine, or pinning Heromarine back and taking more control of the game. However, you're also every so often going to have to pull these Mutas back home to deal with the battlecruiser threat. And every time you have to pull those Mutas back home, that's going to be more time where Heromarine goes unharassed and those Mutas are not fulfilling their main role in the matchup. And instead they're fulfilling the role of, you know, battlecruiser handlers, you know. And that's not, that won't be ideal when that happens. So that's again one of the benefits of having these BCs. You can give yourself openings, taking, you know, pulling those Mutas away. So again, a lot of benefits for Heromarine in this game compared to what we saw in Death Aura when he tried to play mech. So playing a bit of a different style. As the CC will set up on the 12 o'clock position, the Mutas come in. Just coming through, and an SCV gets picked off. Cyclones and Hellbats through the top with a couple of BCs overhead as well. And continue to push this through as a couple of Hellions morphing into Hellbats as well. I'm just going to be seeing our extra Lings all on the way out. A couple of extra Mutas pushing up. Reynor going to try and take this rich Vespian gas, which is brave, because if a siege tank setup gets on this high ground, this base goes down. But if he gets it, that's a second rich Vespian for him. It's a lot of gas, and it's a base that's difficult to take late in the game if Heromarine starts to get more map control. So it's definitely a good one to mine out, you know, as much of now, rather than, you know, letting it go later and letting it be a problem trying to mine from it then. So I like the proactive approach to just setting it up already when these Mutas on the map, and these Mutas have their best shot of slowing Heromarine down. All of our Banelings on the left-hand side as Reynor spikes above 1,000 APM for a moment. Well, he's going to go and push through here. I don't know why he targeted down this missile turret. I actually have no idea. Hey, Lings are going to get through on top of these tanks. Lings on tanks is obviously not great because they friendly fire themselves, and Yeah, that's not a bad start at all. Now the Mutas are going to get some Cyclones which come across. Oh my god, this is actually really good for Reynor. He finds so much. He can't take many more Thor shots, though. He does get out. Again, a little bit expensive to the end there, but I liked what he did. I mean, a lot of siege tanks going down, and suddenly you're maxed out against a... Well, you're maxed out against a 150 supply meching Terran. And you just forced the BCs to teleport already, so the BCs are now not really available to go back into play and come across the map, so you don't have to deal with that harassment. So that's actually another nice bonus catch here from Reynor. This feels great. Now he's going to blow up this entire mineral line. There's 11 SCVs go down, 13. And he's just going to dance this pain around. We'll go off for 14, and then obviously some lower health SCVs at the tail end. He's on 95 drones against 70 SCVs. Okay, Heromarine has built up a couple extra command centers, so he's ready to go up to phase number 5. As Reynor getting this rich Vespene number 2 set up. So again, he's going to be so rich on the gas so early in this game. And that's again the thing. Like, this game started off better, right? There was map control, there was activity from Heromarine, and now what do we have? Honestly, not that much. Like compared to the last game, or compared to like earlier in the game, and compared to all the things we sort of said we maybe needed this time. 11 SCVs go down. The Mutas are going to show up for the Thors. I don't like that so much. It does feel like they're having a bit of trouble. The Blue Flame Hellions are there to clean up. 15 SCVs. I mean, the CC can be replaced, but it's not a planetary fortress. He morphed in double orbital with these 2 command centers. Being kept to 4 bases, right? Instead of floating these one of these out to maybe take a 5th base, it's a 4th base again. It's SCVs that you have to rebuild that maybe could have been another CC to move down here to be a planetary. And now the Ultra Cavern on the way. This is what we never really needed on Death Aura. The Ultra Cavern, and to really have that final kind of tier of tech to just improve the units you use to kind of make these fights happen. So we're going to get here on Eternal Empire, and it just is going to be more of the same. It's just with the Ultras being a little bit better at kind of headbutting in. This is a typical case of the Terran got into a bit of a bad spot, and now Reynor's all over, and there's already Nidus coming up in the main base. 27 SCVs going down. Mutas are trying to dive in. Lings are forcing the natural to lift off. It's just chaos everywhere, right? And you get a little, you let this momentum slip away. You give Reynor this opportunity, and Reynor is going to run with it, and he's going to run real hard and real fast. Like, so this is just, again, slipped away from being a good opening from Heromarine into Reynor all over again. You're now 40 SCVs lost in this attack. There's just Lings everywhere. I mean, there's Nidus now goes down, but now there's Ultras on the way. Reynor's already remaxing. He's got the 9 o'clock base up. He's already, again, mined 1,000 gas off this second rich Vespene. At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if he took this base and took this rich Vespene. We're just at that kind of point as we just dive into the natural expansion. Nidus at least denied by the siege tank in the main. I mean, you can't let Nidus just go up here, because if the Nidus goes up and you're, you get Ultras in your main, your production goes down, you're screwed. I mean, I think he already is a bit screwed, but then you're even more screwed. These BCs haven't even been active, right? Like, these BCs didn't even get a chance to go back across the map since the early stages. And that's obviously like another kind of pretty big deal, actually, because those BCs are one of the things which are meant to be, giving you that activity and harassment that mech sometimes usually doesn't have. They're meant to be fulfilling that role. And as the Mutas fly in, a Widow Mine shot did not go off on the Mutas, which is pretty important, I think. Now these Widow Mines get a lot of the Mutas. I didn't like this as much for Reynor. He's got Banes crashing in, cleaning out the top side base. So he did take out that base. I'm very worried about the counterattack that I think Heromarine will set up, because all of the Mutalisks just died. He's going to build some Corruptors now instead. BCs do go to the bottom side, because all of a sudden the Mutas were, dying. So now there's no anti-air reliably here. So suddenly, Reynor maybe gave up a bit too much all at once. I think Reynor realizes, right, I've got to give up a base or two here. I've just got to give him something to be able to buy some time. These BCs are committed, right? They teleported in, so they are committed, and they will go down. Ultras on the way up. The problem with the Ultras here is going to be the Cyclones. Lings run by orbital command on that low ground base. Again, that's going to be an issue we talked about earlier, the weakness of that orbital, and the fact you just wouldn't be able to build a CC to set up there as a planetary fortress. Ultras on a run through and going to get in on top of this siege tank. Banes are going to slip up this ramp and continue to chase down everything else here. Lings are down into this base again. On the left side, though, Hellions are shutting down drones. Does Reynor have enough? His army supply is down. He's starting to get these Lings through. He's catching these Thors. The Ultra isn't being stopped by anything. If the Cyclones can get some lock-ons to the Ultra or something, then great. But it's the Lings that are tanking so much of this damage and creating so much of a problem. Hellions and Hellbats still causing issues. The Corruptors trying Caustic Spray down a base, but in the face of a missile turret, Heromarine is going to get a repair on that orbital, so it will not go down. The Corruptors don't do much. The Heromarine is also only on 35 drones, so eventually the continued production here from Reynor is seemingly going to make it happen. As we're going to be seeing all of these Lings chasing down these Cyclones, and now it feels like a lot of this is actually just Widow Mines left over. The Ultra probably gets... Wow, so many of these Widow Mines went off on single Lings. The same set of Lings even, really. If there's an Overseer here, all these Widow Mines go down. He just needs some detection or something. He's going to lose this orbital command. He's not paying attention to it, so Heromarine is losing base after base, and it looks like Reynor will retake the lead in this series. Another orbital down, and that's GG as Reynor takes it to a 2-1 advantage in this best of 5. Reynor, one map away from victory in the ESL Open Cup yet again. Must-win game for our blue Terran bottom left, Heromarine, as he is down 1-2 in this finals. Felt like he was just getting to a bit of a streak in these events once again, picking up some wins. You know, he get into some finals, and here comes, you know, the Red Zerg Reynor stomping on his parade. Of course, Heromarine did win last week against Showtime. It's a great final that we had then. As we do have the racks, the gas. Continue to set up. A few drones already building here. As our hatchery builds on the natural and ice and chrome again. Massive map as we get this ready to begin. Yeah, the reason I talk about mech on this map is it's just massive. You know, you talk about maps where it's going to be difficult to ever push a Zerg base. Well, yeah, pick one and try and push it. It's not going to be easy. You know, this isn't even a pathway up here. It's actually disjointed. So your push is like up this way, and you get into the middle here, and you get up this ramp, and then it's just tough to get anywhere, really. And there's so many opportunities for the flanks, especially if these rocks go down. Another pathway for the Zerg to utilize to flank you, surround you, counterattack you. We've seen a lot of Terrans. I know Innovation has been pretty vocal about this map already, saying, oh, you know, like, you know, this is Zerg map. So yeah, going into this game number 4. Factory is already building from Heromarine. The second gas on the way, and he will not go into a fast 3CC here, which I completely agree with. I think this is a map you put some pressure on early, you get some damage done, maybe even you go for like a Hellbat attack, something that can do a lot early, and maybe, you know, if you get into a lead, then obviously, you know, size of the map can be something you can work around, right? Like if you have the advantage enough to offset that difference. Well, oh, that was cute. Evo chamber block, trying to block the Reaper in there for a moment or two. We have a couple of queens building here, as we do have the Ling speed to follow as well. So Heromarine, starport about to finish up, and what's it going to be as he starts at the first couple of Hellions? Are we thinking Cloak Banshees? Are we thinking, you know, just a Viking? Are we thinking a Medevac to really swap this up a little bit? He has quite a bit of gas. He's not building a tech lab, so it doesn't seem to be a Banshee or anything. Maybe just like a Hellion Liberator opening, use that to harass. The Liberator could be nice, swapping between the natural and the third base perhaps, but other than that, there's not a lot of, you know, switching and swapping different ways. He will go Liberator, so Hellion Liberator to start. There's our fast lair again from Reynor. 2-base lair into the third just afterwards. He's going to go, he cancels the Liberator and he goes a Fusion Core once again. So he's going to build into the Battle Cruiser to start. So do we see Battle Cruiser swapping into Bio? Or is he going to try and play Mech once more? Now remember, the last game was Battlecruiser after 3cc. It was a very delayed BC. So this game, the BCs will be active from earlier, and that will be one of the big differences in the game. Two Hellions and a Reaper setting out. As our Reynor build order is obviously not really too capable of scouting the fact that this BC is coming. Viking to start will clean up the Overlord even, so you don't really have anything on this side of the map. Push the Hellions away. The creep at the front gets taken down as well. Fire coming into play from Reynor as we set this up. Just going to see our Reaper and our Hellions trying to make their way up here. Armory as well. So it's going to be a battle cruiser accompanied by a bunch of Hellbats, but Reynor's already being safe. Maybe even you could argue that he's making these banelings a little bit too soon. Because obviously the Hellbat attack's not going to be here for just a little bit longer, but it is nice that he will have some banelings to help him crush through the Hellbat wave and to allow his queens to really focus up on the BCs. You see all these Hellions now, and I think Reynor's a bit like, okay, well, it's a lot of Hellions. He's got some transfusions. These few Banes are like, hey, we can help, and, well, maybe. Hellions just not going to morph in yet. The Ling's running forward. Bit of back and forth. There's the BC, and man, the Queens are low. Already loses one of them. Doesn't even morph in the Hellbats here because he wants to keep kiting away from the Banes. Makes this a very tricky defense from Reynor. He's also supply blocked. I actually think Reynor might just be about to die. Feels like a little bit of, after game one, Heromarine got crushed. He bounced back and won with a very early game push in game two, and it seems like game three and game four have a similar effect, as we do see the MUTAS showing up to target down the BC, which did teleport across. So this BC is guaranteed to die, which is actually a pretty big part of this. That's obviously an expensive unit that will now not be part of the game any longer. No more harassment from that. Of course, the question is how much damage are you taking while you clean this up? I mean, the drones can transfer back around about now once the Hellbats go down. Oh no, there's Hellions here as well, okay. Well, there's just too much on the ground still, and Reynor not prepared enough to deal with this, and 9-10 drones down. He will survive with enough to maybe say that he wants to stay in the game, but 20 workers down at the start of this here, and that's going to be a difficult fight back, right? How do you recover from this? Well, if you ever cover from worker losses like this, it's definitely against mech rather than against bio. Bio just has too much momentum. After an attack like this, you'd come across the map, the first medevacs come, the Stin Marines, you have a bit of a powwow, and you just don't really ever get a chance to recover. Against mech, it's not going to be as aggressive. You can shut down the Hellion run-bys. That's pretty much the only aggression mech comes up with, very quickly after this. So if you can survive the Hellion run-bys without taking further damage, there's possibility, but, wow. I mean, the first few Hellions here, did you get caught? Stuck in a corner? Gonna be able to fight his way out, as it feels like Heromarine kind of gave up on them already. You're 14 workers ahead as Heromarine. Reynor just finished up a couple of drones. There are 2 more factories in the main base. Factory swaps over to the tech lab, but our cruiser here is going to fight the lead. Just going to see our meters continuing in. Just going to go straight in for the BC. BC will be continuing to fall. Will go down soon. And that's the second BC that dies, and I feel like that's also going to give Reynor a bit of a chance back into this, right? These BCs are expensive, and if you're losing these BCs like this, right, it takes away one of your tools as Heromarine to keep Reynor busy, keep him aggressive. I feel like teleporting across instead of just wandering across and teleporting home really makes this a little bit scary. As you see the meters come in, Widowmine shot is good, and now you can't fight the Thorador, so that's just Reynor out of there until the meters regenerate. Great Widowmine. That's going to buy Heromarine time where he doesn't have to worry about defending. 13 worker deficit still here from Reynor, and it's that income that's really the problem, is a baneling or two. Get over here. Widowmine blew up most of them. And Reynor's just going to try. Reynor's just trying to keep as many SCVs away as possible. He'll kill 2 more in the end. Just trying to slow down mining. Actually works. Look at the dip because of these banelings showing up. Actually does bring a bunch of the income back in his favor for a few moments, so... But again, you need more than that, right? There's a lot of resources already mined more by Heromarine. And it will fix now that he gets back onto that third base. 73 SCVs ready. He actually already has SCVs to start thinking about transferring to a fourth base, so... It's going to be seeing the missile turret taken down. Mutas will get into the main, pick off a reactor. I mean, again, if Reynor gets back in it, it will be through the form of harassment that deals damage without him taking many losses in the process. These couple of Banes shown up. That Widow Mine is still there, though, Reynor. Nothing's changed about that. There is a couple of Widow Mines burrowed. He's continuing to deny the gases. I mean, denying the gases is obviously a very smart way to play this. Because if you're able to deny gases, you're taking away the mech's real resource, right? Minerals are a dump that you just pour into Hellions. Gas is where you get those real important units from. Fifth base coming to the top side of the map. A lot of Mutalisks will make their way over to the far left-hand side. He's going to continue over. No Overseer here, man. Those Widow Mines felt they were locked on for an eternity. Felt like they were about to break through. Doesn't happen just yet. Still creep down this highway, but not in front of all the other bases because of all the queen losses earlier in the game. Heromarine will establish a fourth base and maybe gets ready to push. Reynor trying to get into melee upgrades, trying to, again, use the Mutalisks. That's the plan, right? Mutas, harass away. I'm surprised he doesn't have... He's got Overlord speed on the way now, and that should be the point at which we see the Overseer joining. He's going to die for this Thor. He actually has the numbers to get it. He gives up one Muta on the Widow Mine, make that a second. Hey, now there's not really much anti-air here, so you'll deal a bit more damage. The Cyclones come through for a lock-on. He actually gets away. That scan just wasn't quite enough. Again, the last few moments, Reynor's kind of pulled his way back into this. So, the main reason I'm a little scared for Heromarine is that obviously we saw those previous mech games, right? And in those previous mech games, you know, the one thing that really happened consistently was Heromarine got penned in by Mutas and lost the game. And obviously this time he goes into it with a big lead, but you've got to be concerned that it's looking similar, albeit Reynor starts in a weaker position. He started in a weaker position, but doing the thing that's won in previous maps. Mutas back through the center. We're going to be seeing our Cyclones still building up here, as you do see our Mutas getting through, picking off another Hellion in the front. I think it's going to morph into Banes around the right-hand side. Hellions. Just a random help out there doesn't do much. Bane's going to show up. A Widow Mine's going to clean out a few of them. Good split away, but it's a complete waste of Banelings. Doesn't get anywhere. Does nothing at all. I really feel like this needs to... I mean, that doesn't even matter. Like, Heromarine not even paying attention to that. That's how ineffective it is. 3 drones go down here. Hellion harass cleaned out. Reynor maxed out. I guess the question really becomes, how does this play out into the later stages then? Because Heromarine might be able to get a bunch more bases up now that he's not been able to get in some of the previous games. As that Banes come through, gonna go, and this time gets a few Hellions. The Widow Mines, he gets them before they go off. Now Ling's getting a good surround on Thor and some of these Cyclones. He's showing up with the Overseers as well, and there's a bunch of CCs he can pick off here. Good cancel, though. Picks off that Widow Mine as well. Muta Micro good for the moment on this right-hand side. That's Heromarine. He already has a 5th CC. He's gonna expand forward. I don't like it. Actually, on this map, I feel like this is not a good forward base because there's not an easy way forward to it, right? Like, I feel like it's so far around the corner. I don't like it. I don't feel like it flows as well as sometimes the idea of a forward base does in the matchup. Let's see these Mutas diving in. A lot of the Thors going down, and then the Cyclones being chased as well. If you get rid of enough Cyclones, what can these Mutas get done? Heromarine losing a lot of supply. Resources lost, favoring Reynor. If you look at the income graph, starting to favor Reynor again. We're getting back to a point we've been in previous games. And that's what I said, you know, in the earlier game. He lost a lot of drones, but if he's ever going to recover from losing a lot of drones, it's going to be playing against Mech, not playing against Bio. Finds another Widow Mine out over to the side. I mean, he's been very good at not flying into any of these Widow Mines haphazardly or anything. He's really minimized damage. You know, the one time I think Widowmines went off this game, he actually sacrificed the mutas knowing he was going to get a couple of, you know, get a Thor and some damage on top of that. Ling's trying to run by. Ling's are chasing, and the Queen had to help out. Mutas are going to fly through. Widowmines. What? What? How did that Widowmine connect? That's disgusting. That Widowmine should have never gotten off. Anyways, it doesn't actually kill much. Just the one muta. The splash obviously does force you back. Here's a big moment. Heromarine about to actually get a 5th base, because this has not happened in the previous games. You know what? Now I kind of see why he wanted the forward base, because now I look at this and you've obviously got this far right side and the what feels like the extreme left side, but you do have just a line you can set up of, you know, defenses in. But again, Heromarines not out on the map. Heromarines not active. He's not able to be active really against these mutas. We've seen a Hellion run by, and that's been about it. It's just tough. That's what the mutas are so good at here. Now the Ultralisk Cavern's already on the way. As we do see, Banes are going to go rolling into this. There's a few SCVs here repairing too, so you'll get some SCVs with all of this. The Orbital or the CC will just load up. Now we've got mutas showing up on this right-hand side, and there's nothing here to deal with the Mutalisks. A Thor on the way across. The Overseer takes the first shot. Mutas kind of getting a little bit... trying to getting a little bit lost, trying to figure out what they wanted to kill there. They got the Sensor Tower, which is nice. Take away the vision of Heromarine as to where he's going to strike next. And now, look at the income graph. Reynor is skyrocketing. He's about to have the Ultra Cavern. Heromarine just isn't making this work. I'm very surprised then that he played... I don't know, like, it just doesn't, like, in my head, this series just doesn't make sense to me for Heromarine, right? Because I almost feels like every game he wanted to play mech. Even game number 2, where he opened the Blue Flame Hellions, we never really got to see the follow-up, right? So it feels like he just wanted to play mech every game. But especially after the earlier mech games didn't work out. But then I kind of look at Ice and Chrome, like, well, I get why you want to play mech here, but nothing's really changed. There you go, Banes go rolling through, and they're going to get a couple of these siege tanks. Is there enough Banes to get some of these SCVs? That would be one of the main targets, right? Get rid of this economy again. Actually, good little play there. At the same time, the mutas on the left side. Heromarine just can't have enough anti-air in 2 places at the same time, apparently. He's going to lose this planetary fortress. SCVs go to repair it. He's just going to dive here. Reynor, he gets it and gets out again. Minimal losses. Thor's just not doing enough fast enough. Another 19 SCVs fall. Does feel like, obviously, I mean, Reynor is focusing on the left side, and hence why the Banes over here maybe weren't quite as effective as they'd want to be. Which orbital is flying over? Just one that was in the main base. Okay, he has a couple orbitals in the main base, but the entire map is Reynor's all over again. It's Reynor everywhere. He's just got everything. Lings and Banes coming across. That's a Widowmine connection. He actually only got 6 kills. Felt like so many more when you saw the explosion on the edge of the screen. There you go. Lings and Banes run through. A couple of Widowmines definitely could help, and they get some better splash than what we've been seeing, but the Banes come through. That's not quite a dead planetary yet, but it's a very low HP Thor. There's Ultras in the middle of the map. SCVs continue to go down. More Banes trying to roll in. This planetary will fall. And again, you're losing bases right now that are just unaffordable to replace. Reynor loses quite a few mutas, actually. He actually starts up Infestors as a follow-up. He has no Neuroparasite yet. I'm a little bit... Okay, well, the mutas going down concerns me a little bit, because I feel like with the mutas gone, that's a lot of, you know, a lot of the things that were kind of being successful. Then again, he's going to flood this base with the Zerglings, and it's mostly just siege tanks, so as soon as you get in on top of this, it's going to be a pretty big shutdown, and there's no planetary there or anything. He's going to get Lings into the natural, probably try and get them in the main. He can catch some of these reinforcements. Well, this is obviously very bad as well. Pure Lings just against Cyclones and Thors. There's no There's just no Hellions. There's no Hellions again. It's SCVs dying on mass. There's 39 workers left, and Reynor is going to win this series 3-1. He took a massive damage in the early game, but it did not matter because, again, Heromarine did not have a good enough way to play mech on this map. GG. Reynor takes it 3-1.